Okay, so hi everyone. We're going to start and hopefully we'll have some more future students joining in the first few minutes. So my name is Anna. I'm the head of the Student Life Department at TAU International. I'm very happy that we have all of these participants here, all of our future students. We're probably really excited about starting at TAU next year. So I will start by introducing the other members of my team, the undergrad counselors. So if you can just wave when I call your name. We have Dolev. Hi, Guy. We have Eden Levi. Hi, Eden. We have Michal, Nomis. And we have Uriel Schachter. Hopefully Uriel here is with his camera. Great. So these are 4 student life counselors for undergrad students, which are all of your students. And with us, we also have some of our team members from the New York office in charge of registration for students who are from colleges in the United States. So that's exciting. So I'm going to start about explaining a little bit about how the webinar works. It's not like a regular Zoom, it's a bit different. So as you can see, there are a few buttons that you can use when you look down in your webinar. One of them is the Q&A button, questions and answers, meaning that every question that you want to ask during the webinar, you can ask it in the Q&A, and we will respond accordingly. Usually at the end of every topic, we will answer questions, and also at the end of the whole webinar. So you're welcome to just ask, and we will address to your questions, as I said, at the end of every topic. Okay, how long will the webinar last? The webinar will be around an hour. Okay, we'll try not to prolong it more than that, so 1 hour. Okay, so the other button that you can use is a button that says raise your hand. And we're not going to use it that much, but I do want to test it now. So raise your hand, meaning press the button, raise your hand, if you have ever been in Israel or in Tel Aviv. Has anyone been in Israel, Tel Aviv? Oh, wow, a lot of you. That's cool. 20-something. Amazing. Raise your hand if you have ever done any educational program abroad, no matter where. Any educational program abroad. Okay, we have a few. That's nice. So it's a really cool option to do the raise your hand during webinars. So just so you know it, thank you for your cooperation. Okay, so this webinar is basically meant to give you some background about pre-arrival, what to expect while arriving, and during your stay here in Israel. So this is the main goal of the webinar. And it's actually the first time that we're meeting future students in this platform, so it's very exciting. And hopefully it will be of assistance to all of you and will help you prepare to your arrival better. So we're going to start with a presentation, just a little bit about TAU in general. Now, just a second. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So, just quick information about TAU and Tel Aviv University and in Tel Aviv University International in general. So, usually in a regular year, we have a lot of international students coming to TAU. In general, in TAU, we have approximately 30,000 total of students, and 2,000 of them and above are international students. We have students from all over the world coming, various countries. We have a lot of faculties, both undergrad and grad programs, and we have students coming from a lot of schools and departments around the world. Tel Aviv University is really successful with being very international. So this is just a background for the grand picture that you're coming to. So we'll start with the first topic of our webinar, which I will be presenting, and it's called Preparing for Arrival. So exciting. I think the first and most urgent question that you must all have is, will I be able to even enter Israel when I come to my program? So as you probably know, we are now experiencing a lot of uncertainty, and these are very challenging and unusual times due to COVID-19. So things change daily. I'm sure it does also in your countries, and we can't really predict what will happen in October with this virus and everything that is going on. But we are working and doing everything we can together with all the relevant governmental offices here in Israel, and we hope that we can enable foreign students to arrive to Israel. As you probably know, at the moment, Israel is restricting from any foreigners to enter Israel, but we are doing everything possible in order to change that status for new students. In order for you to be able to arrive. For now, we're waiting for instructions regarding visas and all the process. As soon as we will get a green light about your arrival. So we don't have these instructions yet, I'm afraid. I know it's a lot of uncertainty, and for some of you it might be hard. But as soon as we receive the instructions about your entry, we will assist in any way in receiving the entry permits, and we will of course notify you immediately about the process. And as far as the quarantine, now there is a quarantine mandatory for all coming from abroad to Israel of 14 days. And if it will still be necessary in October, it might be necessary for all countries, but it might be necessary only for some countries. It depends. But we will assist and accommodate you with quarantine as will be instructed by the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health in Israel, they are the ones who decide about quarantine and quarantine protocols, and we will do everything by the book, and we will help and accommodate you upon your arrival. Of course, we can't guarantee that you will be able to physically come to campus. We really hope so, and we're very optimistic about it. But some factors are obviously out of our hands. So academically, TAU International is also preparing for the possibility of online classes, especially for the first semester. So it is a possibility in case there will be still restrictions and no one will be able to enter. We truly hope this wouldn't be the case. And as I said, we're very optimistic that you will be able to arrive under certain regulations, but we're still waiting for instructions from our government and all the ministers that are involved. So this is regarding visas and everything related to entry permits. I can assure you that TAU and Israel in general are very good in adjusting with unique and special situations. We're doing it very quickly. So as soon as we need to adjust to something new, we will do it, and we will notify you, and we will do everything possible to accommodate you. So you're in very good hands. So don't worry about it, and you will soon know everything about your entry permits and about the arrival. Right now, I want to switch to a mode in which things will happen the way we hope, and you will be able to arrive safely. And this webinar is to give you the information that you need in case you will arrive and everything will go smoothly and as we hope. And it is an opportunity for you to ask questions, to consult with us. So before I go to my next bullet, I just want to mention that we won't be able to answer any academic questions. So if you have any academic questions, please refer them to your coordinator or to your admissions department. Anything about fees or tuitions, unfortunately, it's not our department. So if you have any academic questions regarding these issues, this will not be answered in this webinar. Okay, so a little bit about COVID-19 and how is Israel coping and what are the regulations at the moment, which you're probably interested in hearing. So basically now in Israel, of course, there are a lot of regulations regarding Corona, but we're not under lockdown anymore. Almost everything is already open here in Israel, restaurants, shops, even movie theaters and other theaters opened in the last couple of days. We have small events like weddings until 250 people in an event. So things happen here in Israel, almost as usual, but not really. We do have several attractions that are still closed, like water parks and places that have more difficulty in following COVID-19 guidelines, but every open place, any business or any attraction or even hotels are open. They all go according to guidelines that in Israel, they're called purple tag. That's the official name. And basically the guidelines are under the Ministry of Health instructions that everyone needs to be with masks in public areas. Every time you go outside, you have to be with a mask, especially if you're going inside closed places like shops and restaurants. And you need to maintain social distance, which means you need to be in a distance of 2 meters from any person who's not living with you or with your family, that you're not meeting every day. So you need to maintain social distance, masks, and of course hygiene. We have gels for your hands and for sanitary at all places, and everyone washes their hands a lot these days. So these are the basic 3 rules. Of course, in a lot of places, your temperature is being measured as you go inside to make sure that your temperature is not too high. There are restrictions on crowds, not too many people inside a small space like a store or a supermarket. So there's a limit of people who can enter places according to their measurement. So everyone, every business and every place is working according to the purple tag guidelines. And this is the way it works here in Israel. As to public transportation, currently it also runs according to the guidelines, both buses and trains. So this is the way it is now. As I said, the 14 days quarantine for those who come from abroad is also still mandatory. So this is basically the routine here in Israel, but I can say that we're pretty much handling it, and people are not, like some people prefer to stay at home and not go out too much, mostly the elderly people. But basically we're trying to keep things normal, and we're going day by day. So if you want to read a little bit more about protocols here of Corona and what you can or cannot do, I'm putting now in the chat a link to our Ministry of Health website. So this is the link to the Ministry of Health in Israel, and you can see all guidelines regarding the corona here. Okay. So our next bullet is regarding the packing list, which I'm sure you're wondering what you need to pack, what you need to bring. So there are most of the things you're able to purchase here in Israel. So don't pack too much. There's no need to pack your whole apartment and your whole home when you're coming here, just the essentials, since there are a lot of cheap stores here in Israel to buy clothes, accessories, whatever you need. So don't overpack. We have a recommended packing list, which I will also add to the chat as we speak, so you can view it in your own time. But these are the recommended items that you need to bring with you when you arrive. As you can see, there are a lot of things here, a lot of recommendations. A very important point is about medications. So most standard over-the-counter medications are available at pharmacies in Israel, but if you do take prescription medications or anything unique to you, you should bring enough for it to last you your entire time in Israel. First, because it's not certain that the medication that you're taking is available here in pharmacies. And the second is that the mandatory health insurance that TU provides is not covering pre-existing conditions. So even if you will be able to purchase your medication here, you'll probably need to go to a private doctor in order to get the prescription, and the medication will probably cost more. So it is really recommended to bring enough to last for your entire time in Israel. If you have any prescriptions that you're not sure whether it is available here or not, if you have any questions regarding insurance, you can contact our housing and insurance coordinator. I will send her email in the chat in a bit, but any questions regarding insurance, medications, or anything that you want to find out prior to your arrival, you're welcome to ask her. So bedding and linens, you don't have to bring everything with you. You can purchase it here. You can also purchase it prior to your arrival and have it shipped to the dorms or to your apartment for you. We're recommending of one company that we work with for a long time called One Sim Hub. So you're welcome to use it. Everything is on the pre-departure packing list that I just shared with you. So basically everything there in this page, but if you have any questions specifically regarding objects or anything that you're worried about regarding packing, you're welcome to ask in the Q&A. Medical form, very important. It's a form that your admissions asked you when you applied and when you confirmed in the portal. It's basically a form that you need to fill in. You and your physician need to fill in regarding your medical state and everything. It's basically for us to know if you have any special conditions or anything that we need to know about while you're here, just to accommodate you better, and just to know if there's anything that might prevent you from doing some activities or anything that we should know about. It's very important that we have this medical form so we can see and we can perhaps accommodate you better. So please upload it to the portal or send it to your academic coordinators or to the admissions office in New York and Canada. So it's very important. Please do it prior to your arrival so we will be able to go over it and to see if there's anything we need to know or to ask you guys. So this is about the medical form. And the last bullet is Israeli phones and SIM cards. I don't know if you've taken that into consideration, but in TUI, it's mandatory to have an Israeli phone number. And I'll try and explain a little bit about why it's mandatory and why it's essential. Even if you have some kind of package that you can call from your number to an Israeli numbers, you need to have an Israeli number of your own. It's not enough to have an abroad number with a package because a lot of places in Israel require an Israeli number. For example, our medical provider with our health insurance, if you want to consult with a doctor by the phone and the doctor needs to call you, they can call only to an Israeli number. They can't call to a number who's from abroad. Also, if you're ordering a package and DHL or other companies want to contact you to let you know that the package arrived, or the delivery guy wants to contact you, they can only call to an Israeli number. Most importantly, if for some reason you will need to perform a COVID-19 test here in Israel, if you feel unwell or something like that, so it's done through the health provider, but the results will come to your Israeli number by a message or by a phone call, and they can only address to Israeli numbers here in Israel, and a lot more. So it is very, very essential that you have an Israeli SIM card with an Israeli number, and you will learn it as soon as you arrive, but it is possible to purchase it pre-arrival, to have it delivered to you when you're already here, and it's also possible to purchase it when you arrive through local phone shops. We have a lot of companies that are providing SIM cards for internationals. Some of them are cheaper. There are a lot of packages. We can't really recommend one company since we're not allowed to. We don't have an agreement with any company, but I can refer you to our website with a list of all the companies, and then you'll be able to choose your preferable one. I'll send it in the chat. So as I said, you can purchase it pre-arrival and have it sent to your home or to our office. And you can also purchase it when you're already here and upon your arrival. Any option is good as long as you have an Israeli number in the first couple of days here. So, this is the basic information for now that you need to know in order to prepare for your arrival. So since it's the end of this topic, I'll be answering some of your questions. And if you have any other questions regarding pre-arrival, everything I said, or if I missed something, please ask now. So I can see that someone asked about Masa. And then said, never mind. So I'm not sure if it's the same one, but Masa Israeli Journey said applications open today to be able to get a visa. So I do know that for Masa programs, they have some kind of agreement with governmental. I'm pretty sure it's only programs that are specifically of Masa and not students that are eligible for a Masa scholarship. These are two different groups. So for students, they still haven't opened and haven't gave us instructions about getting a visa. But you're welcome to contact Masa. Maybe they have, maybe they can help you in some way to receive your visa earlier. So you will have to check this with Masa, but as far as I know, students are still not under this, these instructions that Masa received. Okay, Anna's asking, what is the earliest we can move into the dorms? So the official arrival day is October 12th. If needed, regarding quarantine and other issues, we might open the dorms earlier. But for now, we don't have early check-ins. The official check-in is October 12th. No early check-ins at the moment. But as soon as we have the regulations regarding quarantine and your arrival, then we will be able to let you know when you'll be able to arrive, and if you'll need to arrive earlier, then we will let you know, and we will of course accommodate you in the dorms. So this is about the dorms. Is the August Ulpan still happening for beginners? For now, yes, it's still supposed to happen. Ulpan for beginners is happening mid-August, and we're hoping that by then students will be able to arrive. It's a smaller group, so we might be able to receive special permits for this group. So we're hoping, for now, Ulpan is scheduled as usual. If anything changes, we will of course let you know. Okay, so okay, Jacob is asking, if one already has a student visa, could TU help us to get permission to enter Israel? Probably yes. If you already have a visa, it will be easier for you to get. Again, it's according to the regulations that we will receive. For now, we're handling entry permits only for current students and not new students. We have some current students that need to return to TAU for their studies, so we're helping them. Obviously, they have visas, but the permits are only valid for 2 weeks. So it's not that we can issue a permit now for October. This is not happening at the moment, so we can't issue permits from now to October. But I'm assuming that if students already have a student visa, it will be easier for them to receive the permit and arrive. Okay, might be required to spend a 2 weeks quarantine in our dorms and then proceed with on-campus classes. I'm not sure I understood the question entirely, but obviously if you will need quarantine, you'll do the quarantine and then you'll be able to proceed with your classes. It might be that the first 2 weeks will be online, so you can view it during quarantine, or maybe some kind of a pre-class routine during quarantine, so you won't just waste time for 2 weeks doing nothing. So it is possible that you will have some kind of plan for these 2 weeks of quarantine. But yeah, of course, after quarantine, if the university opens as usual, you'll be able to come to on-campus housing. Okay, will the dorms be open for students taking Ulpan for beginners? Yes, if you'll be able to arrive for beginner Ulpan, the dorms will be open for you, and you will be able to, we'll be able to accommodate you there. So the answer is yes. Okay, if I have Israeli citizenship but live in America, is it possible to come to TAU without drafting? So basically, if you have Israeli citizenship, in order to enter Israel now without a special entry permit, you need to have an Israeli passport. So I'm not sure if automatically, if you have an Israeli citizenship, it means that you have an Israeli passport. I assume the answer is yes. So if you have an Israeli passport, it will be easier to enter Israel without an entry permit that we need to ask in advance. But the 14-day quarantine is mandatory for everyone, whether you're an Israeli citizen or not. So I hope it answered the question. Okay, where will quarantine, if needed, take place, in the dorms or elsewhere? So it depends. We obviously have limited space in the dorms, so it depends about the amount of students and their arrival time. We are hoping to quarantine students in the dorms if needed, but we will need to see what the government says. The government can say that we have to quarantine you in our facility, but they might decide to have their own facility, a governmental facility for all foreign students coming in October. Since obviously we're not the only international program starting in October, there are a lot of universities in Israel with international programs. So we'll need to see what the government tells us to do, because it's not entirely our decision. But if needed, we will make sure to handle quarantine in the dorms. So yeah, but anyway, we will monitor your quarantine and we'll make sure that you have everything you need during these 14 days. We will accommodate you as necessary and as the Minister of Health requires. So don't worry about that. Okay, any other questions? Okay. When will we find out who our roommates are, when we arrive or before? So this will be answered in our housing topic. Okay, so save that question when we talk about housing and dorms. Okay, Avi? But it's a good question. Any other questions regarding pre-arrival, how to prepare, what to bring? Okay, so you will have the chance to ask more later and at the end of the webinar, so don't worry. Okay, let's go to our next topic. Our next topic is arrival information. So let me just go with it to the slide. Just a second. Okay, arrival day. So I'm handing the permission to talk about arrival to Michal, one of my counselors. So Michal, the stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. In case you missed it earlier, I don't think you saw us waving. My name is Michal. I've been a counselor here for, it's gonna be 2 years in October, so I'm really excited to meet all of you. We're just gonna quickly go over what you have to expect once you arrive to Israel. So as Anna said, the arrival day is October 12th. I'm not sure what day of the week it is, but you can see on your calendars. So if you live on campus, we have the address here. It's called the Einstein Dorms, Chaim Levanon Street. It's in northern Tel Aviv. I think Guy will talk a bit about the location of the university. Someone's going to talk about it soon. Anyway, you can take a taxi from the airport. I'm not sure that you would be able to take public transportation if the situation will be as it is now, but you will receive that information closer to the time of your arrival. You can check in the dorms between 8 in the morning and 6 in the evening in a place called the F Club in the dorms. If we will change the location, we will let you know. If you plan to arrive later than this time another day or another time of the day, you would have to contact us individually. I will send you now a link that is called late arrival form. Wait. And you would have to fill it if you plan to arrive later, and then we can contact you individually. I think this is it. Okay, if you live off campus, this is just your day to settle in. You can get in any time of the day you want, whenever that is comfortable for you. Just make sure you know the address of the place you're gonna live and anything that you need. Usually what we do on arrival day is we meet up for pizza in the evening at the dorms. Everyone's invited, even if you don't live in the dorms. But of course, we will have to follow the Ministry of Health instructions. And if we would not be allowed to do gatherings, then maybe it would be canceled, but we hope that it would happen as usual. Next, we're gonna talk about orientation day, which is the day after you arrive. It's October 13th. One sec. Okay. So for all of you, orientation day is mandatory, whether you do study abroad, whether it's your first year in a program here. But it's gonna be fun and it's gonna be very useful. So you wanna be there regardless of it being mandatory. And what we're gonna do there is we're gonna tour campus. We're gonna show you all the important places, all the classes, the locations of classes. cafeteria, auditoriums, anything that you need to know around here. Also in the dorms, we will go over the dorms and everything that's in the area. We're going to show you, we're going to talk about Tel Aviv in general, Tel Aviv University, the activities that we have here, campus, insurances, everything, all the information that you would have to know for the semester. And if you're here for longer than a semester, then a lot of what you need to know for the rest of your stay here. You're gonna get to know most of TAU International's staff on that day and a lot of representatives from other clubs and organizations in the university and around campus that are relevant for you. And of course, we're gonna distribute all your student cards, your insurance card, you're gonna sign your housing contract if you live in the dorms. Basically, this is a day when we're gonna blast you with tons of information, and you would, of course, be able to ask us questions on that day and any day after. But it's a very important day to settle in and get to know what to expect for the rest of your time here. So this is it for this short topic. If you have any questions, you can write. And if not, we will move on to the next topic.
I'm also adding, thank you, Michal. I'm also adding to the chat a link to our arrival site. We have an arrival site with all the information needed about arrival day, orientation, housing, all of these issues that you need to know during arrival. So this will definitely cover pretty much any question that you have regarding arrival. And I can see, okay, there are some questions. So
okay, so regarding the question, how many people stay in one dorm? For now, as far as I know, it's not going to change. We have 2 rooms in each apartment and 2 people in the room. So the rooms are pretty spacious. You're going to share it with another roommate, and you're going to have 3 flatmates in total. I already completed the late arrival form. Do you know when I might receive confirmation or how I will go about the check-in process when I get there? So we will contact you soon. Our housing coordinator is working hard on placing everyone in the dorms, and as soon as we will have an answer for you, you will receive a reply email. A room's code. So yes, in Einstein dorms, the room has 2 people. I hope I understood the question. If there is any specific issue, you can contact the housing coordinator, which I'm sure you have the information if you applied for the dorms. But yes, this is the arrangement here. Anything else? Oh, okay. So the dorms are divided for boys and girls. Everyone live in the same buildings, but no apartment will have boys and girls. So if you're a girl, for example, you're going to live in an apartment of girls. The rooms have air conditioning. Yes. Anything else? Now Eden is going to talk more specifically about the dorms. So maybe some of your questions will be answered. It was nice to meet you. We have one last question for this one. Are there religious dorms? So apartments can be kosher, but I'm not sure it's guaranteed. So if you want to live in a kosher apartment in the dorms, you would have to request it when you request dorms. And if there are enough people for a kosher apartment, then yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Michal. Now introducing you, Eden, who will be speaking a little bit more about the dorms and housing in general.
So hi, everyone. My name is Eden, and And as mentioned before, I'm one of the counselors in the student life team. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the dorms and answer your questions. So let's start with how to apply for dorms. During the confirmation process on the TAU portal, you will be required to submit a confirmation form, during which there is a question, do you require TAU housing? If so, you should choose yes. And the confirmation regarding whether you were accepted to the dorms or not will be during July 2020. You'll get an email back. So let's continue to the biggest question. Are you able to choose roommates or flatmates? So the answer is yes, but we can't guarantee that. In the same confirmation form that I talked about before, there is a pane in which you may type in a requested roommate. Please choose only one. If you want to request flatmates as well, you may put them in brackets, and if it is possible, we will consider your request. We want your experience here to be fun and comfortable, and we do our best to make sure all requests are answered. The most important thing is that all requests are the same. So let's say if Katie Friedman wants Maya Gal to be her roommate, then both of them must write each other. Same goes with flatmates. You will find out who are your roommates and flatmates and where your apartment is located in the dorms only on the day of your arrival. So make sure you know that. You have any questions about applying to the dorms? Okay, so I'm going to continue. So a bit about the facility itself. There are 7 buildings in the dorms, building A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Each building has 4 floors. In each apartment, there are 2 rooms. The rooms are big and contain 2 roommates, so 4 roommates in one apartment. Each apartment contains a kitchen with a microwave, a kettle, electric gas, and a refrigerator. There is 1 toilet, 1 shower, and 2 bathroom sinks in the apartment. In the rooms, there are, of course, 2 beds, 2 desks with chairs, and 2 closets, or 1 large closet, and of course, air condition. The buildings are a bit different from each other. Most of the buildings don't have elevators. And there is also a study room with computers and the laundry room in the facility itself. And also in the dorms, you can find a gym, a social club to hang in. We talked about it, F club. You'll see it on the day of your arrival. And there are a lot of lawns. It is really nice, feels like a park. You can see a video of the dorm surrounding in this link. I'm gonna share here. Wait. So I'm gonna share after I'll talk a link of the dorms, the tour of the dorms, and also a video of an apartment. So you'll see how the inside of an apartment looks like.
I will share it now.
And that's it about the facility and the dorms. Okay, and do you have any questions about the facility or the apartments?
I'm just adding now that I sent.
Are dorm floors divided by gender? I believe not. No. Okay, so let's move on to dorms rules and regulations. So first of all, it is important to emphasize that the dorms are secured 24/7. There is a guard at the entrance of the dorms and another guard that patrols around the dorms during the night. The reason for that is, of course, your safety, but also the guards are there to make sure the dorms are organized, clean, and quiet. And if you disobey the rules, you can get a fine, and it is really unfortunate. So the most important rules are, 1, your fob is personal. When you get to the dorms, you will get a blue chip, and with that chip, you will be able to enter the dorms. You cannot give this chip to friends. It is personal and contains your picture. The second rule relates to the fact that the dorms are supposed to be quiet during the day and definitely quiet during the night to make sure students are able to actually study and sleep. So we do encourage social gatherings in the dorms, but loud partying, please go to a club, and don't worry, Tel Aviv is full of them, but Guy will talk about it later. So partying, loud music, or shouting, you can actually get a fine for it. So make sure you don't do that. The third rule is making sure your apartment and the dorm surroundings are clean. So basically, don't leave your trash bags outside, put them in the trash bins, and you can also recycle in the dorm, so that's great. So these are the most important rules. Before you even ask, smoking is forbidden in the apartment. You can smoke cigarettes in the designated areas in the dorms. Smoking drugs is illegal in Israel, even marijuana. So you definitely can smoke drugs in the dorms. Regarding alcohol, you're all adults, at least when you'll get here, you'll be adults if you're 17 right now. So you can drink alcohol in your apartments, but if you'll be drunk to death and start acting stupid around the dorms, you are likely to make trouble and get a fine. So just so you know. Regarding guests, if you want to have guests in the dorms during the day, it is fine. The guests will have to show an ID and sign up at the guard's booth. And if you want the guest to stay over the night, you will have to get an approval file from the dorm's management a few days earlier and show the approval to the guard. Any questions regarding the rules? Okay, so let's talk about the locations of the dorms. The dorms are a minute away from the university. There's a supermarket, a mall, a nice bar, a sports center, and a few restaurants next to the dorms. With that being said, the university and the dorms are in the north part of Tel Aviv, sorry. It takes 10 minutes in a taxi or 20 minutes in public transportation to get to the center of Tel Aviv, so keep that in mind. Maybe you would like to be closer to the center of Tel Aviv and choose off-campus housing. So for your information, it takes time to find an apartment and it is usually more expensive. So if you choose this option, you need to prepare in advance. That's it. Any questions about the dorms, about the location? Anything you want to ask?
In the meantime, I will just say that
thank you so much, and I hope to see you here next year. And then now Anna is going to talk about health insurance.
Yes. So thank you, Eden. I added to the chat the links that we spoke about, the virtual tour in the Einstein dorms. We also have a video of an example of an apartment in the Einstein dorms and the dorms rules and regulations. So you're welcome to view it and to prepare yourselves in advance. So hopefully you will make a wise decision about whether you want to be in the dorms or not. But you're most certainly welcome to come to the dorms and be close to us. So I see there are a few questions regarding the dorms, so I will let Eden answer them for a minute.
Okay, so will you be able to get to know your roommates beforehand? No, only on the day of your arrival. Are we required to stay in the dorm for a whole year, or can we move to an apartment anytime? You will sign a contract for a certain time, and if you'll choose to leave the dorms, you'll have to contact the housing coordinator, and she will tell you what to do.
I will give a little bit more information about that.
Anna,
so
you're on mute.
I'm on mute. Okay. Just a second. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
So regarding the dorms contract, so basically the dorms are for the whole period of your program. You sign a contract for the whole period of the program and you pay in advance. So as soon as you pay and you have the contract and you already started living in the dorms, you can choose to leave before the contract ends, but you will need to pay the whole fee unless a replacement will be found for you in the dorms instead. But this is our housing coordinator's job. But basically, as soon as you commit to the time in the dorms. The contract is until the end of your time there, until the end of your program. So usually you won't be able to leave in the middle or end your contract sooner or anything like that. Usually students stay until the end of the contract. So take that in mind. Okay, and then there are a few more questions. So.
Do you have to move out of the dorms during holidays? No, you can stay in the dorms during the time you sign the contract to stay in the dorms. Do you have the same roommates for the entire 2 years? Not certainly, but you can ask for it if you want to, and we will of course consider your request. Is it possible to extend my stay in the dorms by a week? Usually yes. You need to contact the housing coordinator, and she will be able to answer it, but most of the time there is no problem to extend your stay.
Okay. Okay, so I'm moving forward to insurance. Oh, we still have one more question. What % of undergrad international live on campus? Undergrad international, you mean percentage of the whole Einstein dorms campus? I would say if we have 7 buildings, about between 2 or 3 of these buildings are for international students, and 4 other buildings are for Israeli students. So this is the percentage in the Einstein dorms between internationals to Israeli students. So I hope that answers it. Okay, you'll have time to ask more questions at the end of the webinar as well, so don't worry. Let's continue and talk about health insurance. So first, each program, whether it's study abroad or our degree programs, TAUI is providing, it's within your tuition, the insurance that we provide. And in order to receive the insurance, if you're coming for a long-term program, meaning 5 months and above, in order to receive the insurance, you will have to fill out a health declaration. You will receive this health declaration from our housing coordinator in the next few weeks, and then you'll have to fill it in and send it back so we can send it to our insurance company and make sure that you're all insured. So it's very important to fill in this health declaration prior to your arrival. It's different from the medical form. The medical form is only for us to see if there's anything unusual or anything that we need to know medically. The health declaration is only for the insurance company, and it's very important. Without the health declaration, if you're here 5 months and above, under 5 months, you don't need the health declaration. You will be insured anyway. But if you are here for a long-term program without the health declaration, you're simply not going to be insured. It's very not recommended and even dangerous. So please, as soon as you receive the email from our insurance coordinator, fill in the health declaration and send it back as soon as possible, and by the deadline that she will inform you about. So our health insurance is called Menorah Mivtachim. And in Israel, every insurance company is working with a specific health clinic providers. We have 4 types of health clinic providers here in Israel. So one of them is called Leumit. So we're working with Leumit clinics, and they're associated with our Menorah insurance. So Leumit has clinics all over Israel. As you're insured with Leumit, meaning you can use all of Leumit clinics in Israel, not only the ones in Tel Aviv. So it's very convenient. We also have a lot of pharmacies working with the Leumit clinics. One is really nearby the clinic itself, that is close to the university. The clinic is not inside campus. It's about 2 or 3 bus stops away from campus and about 15-20 minutes walk. But I mean, it's still very convenient, and there's a pharmacy right next to it. So you'll be able to schedule a doctor's appointment, anything you need with the clinic. There's also nurses, and there's phone consult. You can consult with a nurse or a doctor by phone if you don't want to come to the clinic, or if you're in quarantine or anything like that. And the service is, of course, in English as well. Leumit also has a service of doctor's home visit. So if you're really feeling unwell and you can't go to the clinic, and you want a doctor to come to you, it's very much possible. It's a 24/7 service, and a doctor arrives up to 3 hours from the time that you requested it. So it's very convenient, and it's free. It's within your insurance. If there's an emergency situation and you need an emergency assistance health-wise, we have 2 options. One is an emergency center. There are a few centers around Israel and also in Tel Aviv that provide help as soon as you get there. It is with a fee. It's a small fee. It's 90 shekels, which is about $20. And then you'll see a doctor immediately, and they can even do some tests there. And it's very convenient. It's a lot more convenient than the ER, but the ER is also an option in the hospital if it's a real emergency and you don't want to go to the emergency center. But please note that the ER in Israel, it will accept you without a fee only if you have a referral from a doctor. So if a doctor refers you to the ER, or even if you receive a referral by phone, by calling the Leumit Center and asking to talk to a doctor, and they give you an electronic referral, then you can go to the ER and you won't need to pay a fee. If you come without a referral and you just show up in the ER, they will charge you, and a lot, around 19 shekels, and you probably won't be able to receive it back from the insurance company. So try to avoid just showing up in the ER since it's not really covered, only with a referral, or go to the emergency center and pay the $20 fee, and then a doctor will see you and will help you with what you need. So you have a lot of options insurance-wise. It's very convenient. As I said, there is a service in English, both by phone and English-speaking doctors. So it works pretty well. Another important point is to know what the insurance does not cover. So I will send you a link to the most important things that you need to know about what the insurance does not cover. Basically, it's, as I said, things like pre-existing conditions, extreme sports, and dental care. Dental care is not covered, only if it's an emergency dental care, so take that in mind. Psychiatric and psychological service, anything with regarding to mental health, is not covered by the insurance. Anything related to pregnancy or delivery, as a dental treatment, injuries while you're intoxicated or under the influence of illegal substances. So it's important to know that if something happens while you're after you drank alcohol, this will not be covered by the insurance. And as I said, extreme sports like bungee jumping, mountain climbing, and more. So please take that in mind, that these things will not be covered by the insurance. You might be able to purchase some kind of your own private insurance that might cover some of these things, but take that under consideration, that our health insurance does not cover it. In the link that I sent, in the top of the page, you will see the full policy of our insurance. You can click it and see the whole policy. So if you're interested, I strongly recommend reading the policy just so you know exactly what the insurance is covering, not covering, so you can prepare accordingly. And just know the things while you're here and also pre-arrival. So I strongly recommend reading it. As for mental health service, although our insurance does not cover it, TAU does provide a mental health service with a reduced fee. So we have a mental health department with psychologists and psychiatrists. So with a reduced fee of around $50 for psychiatrists, it's a bit more. $50 per meeting. You'll be able to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist if needed for sessions. So it's really easy, and you can subscribe to it while you're already here if you need it. It's not an emergency mental health place, so it's important to understand that. It's only for day-to-day meetings if you need to talk to someone, a professional. So take that in mind, that we do have this service, and it's in English, of course, for students. And as I said, if you have any private insurance, if you have insurance from your home school or any other insurance, check your policy and see it might cover a few of the things that our insurance doesn't. Just make sure that if you have a private insurance, check with them to see with which clinic they're working here, because it might not be Leumit, it might be another clinic for the other insurance. So just make sure you know who to call if you have something related to your other private insurance, if you have one. Obviously, the counselors will be able to assist while you're here with contacting a doctor, or if you need someone to come with you to an emergency center, to the ER, we'll be able to assist with that, so you won't be alone. So this is one of our services in the Student Life Department to help you and to guide you if needed. But it's pretty simple, and I'm sure you'll be able to handle it on your own as well as soon as you're here. So yeah, this is about the health insurance. I think I pretty much covered it all. Any questions regarding health insurance that I haven't mentioned, I haven't talked about? I'll be happy to answer. Okay. So if we have insurance that covers Israel, are we still required to have TAU health insurance? Yes. Basically, any of our international students, whether it's study abroad or degree programs, have to have the TAU health insurance. It is part of your tuition as well, so it's not something that you pay extra fee or something. So you are required to have a TAU health insurance, and you can have another insurance of your own, which is fine. Unless you are an Israeli citizen and you're already listed in a health clinic here in Israel, and then you will need to sign a waiver with our housing coordinator. But if you're not an Israeli citizen and you don't have an agreement with one of the clinics here, the TAU health insurance is required and will be a part of your tuition. Would TAU health insurance cover anything COVID related? Of course. If anything happens during your stay here, if you feel unwell, if God forbid you will have the virus, the health insurance will cover it, of course, and will have you tested, and anything needed will be provided by the health insurance. As I said, even if you'll be quarantined at home, you'll be able to have a doctor call you by phone and advise you by phone, and you'll be able to get tested here. So yeah, as I said, it's very important to have an Israeli phone number in these cases, so the clinic will be able to contact you. Yeah. Okay, so any more questions about health insurance, health-related questions? Okay, just a quick remark for the BSc students that the tuition is not covering insurance. So it's not inside your tuition like with other degree or study abroad students. So it will be paid separately for BSc students. So just so you know. Sorry, that noise is not for you. I will probably have a delivery guy coming. Okay. We have guests, surprise guests here. Okay, so I see there are not any more questions about insurance, so we can go to our next topic, which is student life team activities and life here on campus. Woohoo! Fun stuff. So we have Uriel here explaining you a little bit about this topic. Hi, Uriel.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Uriel. I'm also one of the counselors, and like everybody else here, I cannot wait for you to come and to join us here in Tel Aviv University. When I'm not a counselor, I'm a psychology and anthropology student, and I myself was an international student when I was in high school. I lived in 10th grade. When I was in 10th grade, I lived in Boston, and after my army service, I also traveled China and Japan, and both these experiences were very meaningful for me, and both pushed me to do this job. And I'm mentioning it not because I'm very interesting, but because what I and later Guy will speak about regards the very reasons that you come here in the first place. And you know, we dedicated most of this webinar to speaking about how to do things and all the crucial questions regarding day-to-day questions, but it's important to remember that there is a reason that you come here. Now, sometimes we meet students that, you know, they come to Tel Aviv and then they stay in the dorms for their whole stay here, and they order McDonald's. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against McDonald's other than it being unhealthy and unkosher, but I believe that if you really want to get the best out of staying here, so you really need to be immersed in Tel Aviv and in Israel and get the best out of these places. So what I and Guy will talk about is how we plan on doing it. And we, with Madrichim, as counselors, have two main roles. One is take care of your day-to-day problems and bureaucracies and help you in taking care of your bureaucracies. And the second reason that we're here is that we're Israelis and we want to give you the best way to be immersed here in the Israeli and the Tel Avivian culture and environment, and to get the best out of it. So how do we get immersed? And we move to the next slide. So we like to say that there are three main aspects as to how we do the social part of this semester or this year, or 2 years for those of you who come for a longer period. The first one is the trips, which I think is the best part of our job, and hopefully of your stay here in Tel Aviv. The second is holidays and events, but we do things together. We as Madrichim and you as students, so around some Israeli or international holidays or events, we gather together. And the third one is about connections and external activities, which, you know, sometimes we don't have to do everything ourselves as Madrichim in order for you to enjoy your time here in Tel Aviv. But, you know, we are here and we're Israelis, and we know things and we know people that may be relevant for some of you. And if a student comes to us and asks, how can I do where can I find a good place to dance? So I will refer him to Guy, which is an excellent dancer, and he will refer you to the best places in Tel Aviv to go dance. And I think it's a very crucial part of our job. So I'll go very quickly over each of these three elements. So the trips we have, everything is questionable now as to how it will happen, but we're very optimistic about it happening in general. And we will be needed to be very agile in order to make things happen, but we're determined to do so. So in terms of trips, we have three kinds of trips. The first is evening trips around Tel Aviv. We go to Jaffa, we go to Shuka Carmel, we go to all kinds of wonderful places in Tel Aviv. The second kind is a day trips, usually on Friday or sometimes in different days. But usually on Fridays, we would go, for example, to Haifa or to Jerusalem for one day. So, for example, if we go to Jerusalem for one day, then we would go to ancient churches, we would go to the Western Wall, we would go to Yad Vashem, we would go to Shuk Machne Yehuda, and that gives you some kind of a very intense and concentrated feeling of a city, of a certain city in Israel. And the last kind of trip that we have, and the most fun, in my opinion, but also I guess in most students' opinion, is the weekend trips, which are 3 days trip. We go either to the north or to the south of Israel, and we would hang around in Rosh HaNikra or in the Kinneret or in Kibbutz Gaton, or if we go to the south and we go to the Dead Sea or to Eilat or to all kinds of other wonderful places. And what we try to do in these trips is, really make you, if we said that we want you to be immersed in Israeli life and in Israeli culture, then there is probably no better way than doing it by feet and by meeting the very places that shape this place and this country. So we would go to the second part. Anna, thank you. So the second part is events and holidays, and every country and every culture has its rhythm and its calendar, and we in the international school try to do some kind of a mixture of Israeli holidays and events and special days with all kinds of international or holidays or holidays from different cultures of students that we have. So, for example, we have a very famous Hanukkah Christmas party where we celebrate both Hanukkah and Christmas, and we celebrate Purim, and we have some mutual evenings for Memorial Day or for Israeli Independence Day. And so that's one part of what we do. And the second part is that sometimes we have just regular meetings. For example, we go to eat hummus together, or we go to a museum, or we practice dancing Gaga or Krav Maga. And in these events, we want you both to know the culture and to be socialized with each other. And I think this kind of events is especially important for those that are usually more shy, and it gives them a real opportunity to meet other people. And I go to the last part. Can we move to the last slide? Okay, so I mentioned earlier that what a major part of our role is as madrichim is to connect you to cool things that happen in Israel or in Tel Aviv. And we sometimes joke in Israel that every second Israeli is either your cousin or a cousin of your friend, and it's especially true here in Tel Aviv and in the university. And many times, what we try to do is not doing something by ourselves, but letting use the opportunity to use our connections or our relationships in order to get the best out of Tel Aviv and out of Israel. So I mentioned very quickly a few of the stuff that are going on. So there are all kinds of sport teams in the university. The dorms, Einstein dorms have a dorms gym, which is totally free, but also the university has a larger and more equipped sports center. It is subsidized for all students. Something else that worth mentioning is Tazuz, which is an initiative of students, international students from all around Israel, and they have some special events for students that occur around a mutual interest. And there are all kinds of other things. I'll mention one last thing, that during the Corona, many of our students volunteered in many different organizations, and part of our job in this situation was to help them and to connect them to things that are going on here. And we will try to do it more, even more successfully next year, and we hope that you'll all be part of it. And that's about it. And I'd like to answer questions if you have some. Okay, so if we have something here. Okay, so that's a great question to ask me personally, because I'm a Shomer Shabbat myself. It is an option to keep Shabbat on weekend trips. When you arrive here, we will explain more in details, but I do it myself, and I would be happy to help everyone to do it if they need. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. And other daily minions. In Israel, you have in pretty much every street synagogue, so no worries about that. Are trips mandatory? No, trips are not mandatory. You get your certificate if you don't go to the trips, but it's the best part. So it's not an obligation, but it's very recommended. Are all the sports facilities free for students? So the Tau Sports Center is not for free. The dorms gym is free, but also the sports center is subsidized heavily by the university. How many people generally attend each trip? It differs between semesters, between different trips. I don't know to answer that as for now. How are trips free? So it depends on the program that you're in. We will get to it when you arrive here. I don't want to say a general question for all programs. We will get to it if Anna wants to add something.
Yeah, so basically it's depending, as Uriel said, it depends on your program. You can refer to your program coordinators about that question, but for now, for study abroad, it's part of their tuition, and for BA, BSc, it's usually with some kind of fee. So this is in general, but we will let you know prior to your arrival exactly how it works.
Who do the sport teams compete with? So it differs between different sports, but anyway, we don't do things for the competition, but for the joy of it. Just kidding.
If you do sports, I can say that if you do go to a sports team as part of the student union, they are sometimes doing competitions with other academic institutes here in Israel. So if you do want to compete, it is a possibility, but for the student union sports clubs, You need to be a little bit more professional. It's not if it's just a hobby. So you'll probably be able to do it with Tazuz, our other initiative, which is more informal and not competitive. Okay. So thank you, Uriel. And now we will go to our last but not least topic. And it's life here in Tel Aviv. So Guy, please take the stage.
Yes. Hello everyone. Can you hear me? Wonderful. So my name is Guy. I think that we're a little bit off time, and I believe that most of my points were already hinted before by my very nice colleagues, so I'll try to keep it short. Anyway, we wanted to take you for a little tour in Tel Aviv. You can see here in the presentation how buses looked like in the 50s or 60s. So it doesn't look like that anymore, but a very important thing in what we want you to see is that this place, Tel Aviv or Israel, has a history that we want you to be exposed to. It's a place of the present, but also, most importantly, a place with a lot of past, a lot of charged past that we encourage you to explore. So, yeah, Anna, you can flip to the next slide. So public transportation in Tel Aviv is quite easy. I believe that all of you know how to work with Google Maps and Move It and such apps. So we don't want to take long on that. You just have to know that there is a Rav-Kav, which is the transportation card that we use. You have to have it, and you can issue it in almost every train station. We will give you further information about this when you come here in our orientation presentations. As students of Tel Aviv University, you get a discount. You can register as a student in the Rav-Kav system, and so you get a little discount, which is nice. There are buses, trains, 4 stations in Tel Aviv, and the trains go to the north and to the south. And recently they added another line to Jerusalem, so it's nicer to travel around with trains. During weekends, we have, well, actually, to be exact, the Sherut, the minibuses, which is like the yellow minibus here in the presentation. They operate all the time, even on Shabbat. Again, you are welcome to check it online. There's all the information in Google Maps and in apps like Move It. They are very, very useful, especially when you live in the dorms. And the very big plus is that they operate also during Shabbat, when other buses and the trains don't operate. And also, very recently, the Tel Aviv municipality added a free Shabbat buses services. It's a network of, it's a reduced bus network of around 4, let's say 7 or 8 lines that go around the city. They go quite frequently. They don't make a lot of noise. They keep the environment of Shabbat, but still let people go around the city, even if they don't own a car, which is a very important thing to a lot of Israelis and Tel Avivians to be able to travel around. So we can go on to the next slide. Is it only me that it didn't flip? No, the next one. Okay, so Shabbat, like I said before, it's a very special time in Israel. There's one day in the week that you can really rest, maybe study for real. And the transportation doesn't work 100%, but as I said, there are several solutions to get around the city. it's a day of rest to all working people, which is a very, very important thing in the atmosphere of Israeli politics and Israeli economics also. So I think we can go to the next one. Oh, one important thing, that during Shabbat, grocery shops and other services are usually shut down. However, bars, restaurants, and cafes are usually open. And so people have to like get prepared for Shabbat. If you want to cook something during Shabbat, you have to buy groceries in advance. That's recommended. The next one. Anna, can you take it to the next slide?
Yeah, I already did, but maybe it's.
Right, I think that my connection is slow. So Tel Aviv must-sees. Well, as a Tel Avivian myself, I was born here and I was raised here. I can tell you, like from first source, that the city is the best city. I'm completely in love with it, and there's a lot to see here. You can see in the presentation the Levi, the city center, Kerem HaTeimanim, Neve Tzedek. All of these are really, really beautiful places. Very, very different. Every district has its own architecture, its own style, and also its own vibe. And I really encourage you to go around and see the bars and restaurants in Florentine and in Levinsky Market, and also explore the Kalmar Market in near Kerem HaTeimanim. Go around the city. Yeah, here you can see a very old picture of Dizengoff Square, Dizengoff Circus actually. And yeah, it's really nice to see. If you remember this picture, when you see it in reality, maybe it will mean something to you. There's also there are also two ports, the Tel Aviv port and Jaffa port. I recommend personally to go visit the Jaffa port. We usually, as Uriel said before, take a trip to that place. It's a really, really beautiful place, very, very unique. So the next one. Yes, the Tel Aviv Promenade. Well, as you know, Tel Aviv lies along the shore of the Mediterranean. I recommend you personally to take a walk from the north to the south, see the whole promenade. In the bottom picture that I added here, you can see Hilton Beach, which is a very known place for LGBT people, LGBTQ people in Tel Aviv. And this is like where I want to emphasize for you that Tel Aviv is really a beautiful and a very friendly place for LGBT people, as you probably heard before. The night scene and also this place, this specific beach, are really friendly places, beautiful places, and all kinds of people are welcome in this city. Doesn't matter who you love or whatever you are, you're welcome here. And I think this is one of the most important bases of ethics of this city. Along the promenade, you can see a lot of bars and restaurants, and also outdoor beaches, outdoor gyms, which is very nice to work out in. As to culture venues, well, when you don't speak the local language, it's quite hard to go to theater. But for example, you can, if you're interested, you can go see the Israeli dance scene, which is very, very unique in Tel Aviv. And its center is Suzanne Dalal. It's in Neve Tzedek. There are also many museums. The most famous one is the Tel Aviv Museum of Modern Art. There's also the Cinematheque in Tel Aviv that has a lot of foreign films and local films and film festivals. I recommend you to check their site. Hakamari and Habima theaters are the main repertoire theaters of Tel Aviv. They mostly play in Hebrew, but sometimes we have guest performances from abroad, and sometimes they also play with English subtitles. So I recommend you also to check this in. As Uriel said before, you come already to Tel Aviv, so why not take as much as you can taste out of it? We can go to the next slide, which I believe is the last. And here, no, one before, Anna?
Yeah, I already did it. You're in a bit of delay.
Okay, beseda. So here is a little challenge for you all. If you can find the spot where this image was taken, where this picture was taken, then you are a very, very cultural person. I can say that like this is a very, very, I think, special installation. You can see this title that sort of looks like Mind Over Matter in like with the heading, that its reflection is wind over water. And I think there is something in these two titles that make a certain dialogue between them. And there's something about this connection that really reflects something about the spirit of Tel Aviv. So here's your first challenge in Tel Aviv, to go find this place. And I really hope that you will enjoy your time in Tel Aviv. It is a beautiful city, and as all of my colleagues said before, we're really looking forward to having you here.
Thank you, Guy. That was awesome. So yeah, that was our last topic, last but not least. Now you're welcome to ask any questions regarding the whole webinar. If there's anything we missed, anything else you want to ask, or I know we're a little bit behind of time, but we're here for any questions. I do know there was one question in the beginning about Israeli citizens, students, and drafting to the army. So I don't have a specific answer for you now, but you're welcome to leave your email address in the chat, and I will definitely get back to you about this question. It's an important question, so you're welcome to give us your email through the chat. When you'll be able to contact your academic advisors. So I will put now in the chat the email information of all the people that you need prior to arrival that are not us. So these are all the contact details. So basically, if you're in study abroad, you can refer to admissions in the US or any other study abroad not from the US. This is the email address here, the Intel PAWEX. And if you're from the BA program, you can contact the head of your program. Her name is Ayelet. And if you're in the BAC program, so you have a few contacts there. So I'm adding the link to the page of the BSc program. So each of those contacts are related to academic questions, tuition, financial aid, anything that you need to know regarding other topics. You can email these email addresses. Okay, so is there any way to connect with other students before arrival? So we obviously can disclose information of other students like email or phone numbers, but you can definitely check our Facebook page. We'd appreciate if one of our counselors could put the link to our Facebook page here and then in the chat, and you might be able to contact students through our Facebook page and ask some more questions, or maybe ask students that were already here and finished. So you're welcome to do that. Here's the link to the page. You can see it in the chat. Do we have any long breaks in the academic calendar besides Passover? Pretty sure not. Long break. You have a break, but it's for your exams between one semester and the other. So there are a few weeks of exams, and then you might have a break after the exams and before the second semester. So this is a pretty long break, unless you need like to do another exam, a second exam, and then you'll need to study a bit more. But and you also have Passover. So these are the main breaks. But you can check the academic calendar on our website. Really easy. You can see all the dates there. When does the academic year end? So for BAE and BSc programs, it's around the end of June, but again, I can refer you to just look at the academic calendar online and see. For study abroad programs, the calendar is a bit different, so each program should go to its own calendar and check the dates. Do we need to handle the student visas completely, or is it arranged through the university at all? So usually, if it was a regular year, you would have to handle the student visas yourselves with the Israeli consulates in your country. This year, it will probably be a bit different. It will probably be half and half. You will have to do some, and we as a university will also assist in some of the matters regarding the visa and entry permits. But as I said, we will have to wait for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Immigration here in Israel for instructions regarding visas and entry permits. And then I can assure you that as soon as we have the information, you will receive it from your program coordinators, and you will know exactly what to do in order to receive the visa and the entry permit. Will TU help us with finding internships? So if you are registered to an internship program, you should be contacted with our internship advisor and coordinator. Her name is Tali. And if you wish to find some kind of an internship while you're here, if you're not in the internship program, you will also be able to contact Tali. We'll give you all the information upon your arrival. Do you know when MASA applications open for the study abroad program? No, it's not really our field. So it's another question that you should ask your program admission coordinators. I can see that Eden says that MASA opened applications today. That's what they told us on our WhatsApp group. So you're welcome to check their website and see, but it appears that they opened applications today. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, I just want to add that this whole webinar will be is recorded and will be sent to you and to other future students that couldn't be with us live through email, through your programs. So you'll be able to get back to all the topics that you might have missed or want to hear again. And you'll see our beautiful faces again. So, so I hope you enjoyed it and that you received all the information needed for your arrival. You're welcome to ask any other questions through the emails that I sent to you in the chat. We'll give you every information needed. And of course, as soon as we have information regarding visas and entry permits, this is our highest priority. And we will send it to you as soon as we have it. And later on, you will receive a pre-arrival email, a welcome email from our team a few weeks prior to your arrival with information again towards your arrival, and we'll have our orientation. So you will have a lot from us coming. So thank you so much, and thank you to all of our great madrichim that were here with me today. Madrich is a counselor in Hebrew, madrichim in Rabim. We say that word a lot, so get used to it. And that's it. Have a great day. Thank you all so much for participating. And we hope to see you soon here in Tel Aviv.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
See you.